You guys, welcome to Truth Hurtz podcast. I'm your host, Malibu Dallas. We have a hell of a show for you today. If you are tired of paying vehicle tax, tired of registering your vehicle, if you're tired of just shelling out a lot of money to the government, and you have no idea how to stop contracting with the government, and you really truly want to live in freedom. You want to travel unmolested. You want to travel freely. This is the show for you. Stick around. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Truth Hurtz podcast, a podcast where we believe in standing up for your constitutional rights, freedom of speech, and telling the truth, even if it hurts. I'm your host, Malibu Dallas. What do you say we get this party started? Hey, welcome back. My name is Malibu Dallas. I'm your host of this talk show, podcast, whatever you want to call it. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, you're definitely going to want to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification. So when I post a new video, you get a little ding ding and tell you to go watch my show. Today we have a very special guest. Her name is Leigh. She's on TikTok. She's on YouTube. She is insanely intelligent and funny. She's brilliant in what she does. She's going to be probably one of my permanent co-hosts of the show. And it's a fantastic pleasure to introduce you to her. And she has a couple dogs. She lives by the beach. I'm jealous. I definitely want to live by the beach. Maybe one of these days I will, but you know what? Until then, say hello to Leigh.
Hey, how are you guys? Thank you so much, Malibu, for having me on today. This is amazing.
Yeah, thank you. It looks like you're having a good day out there. It looks like the weather's pretty decent.
It is, it's very pretty today, but at the first of the week, it was cold. It was like 54 degrees here in Destin.
Oh, 54. See, I love that kind of. See, I'm from the
That's
Northwest
horrible.
originally. I love the chilly kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's, I don't know.
But I love the beach though. I don't know.
Absolutely. And there was actually people out on it too. They didn't seem to mind.
No, of course not. I mean, they're probably used to it. I mean, if they're down there all the time, right?
Right. The snowbirds.
The snowbirds. So Leigh, so yeah, fantastic. You are insanely smart on what you're doing. I'm very impressed of how far you've actually come so far in regards to the process of becoming a secured party creditor, living in freedom, securing your vehicle as your own vehicle, not having to pay taxes anymore, registration. Your vehicle is actually yours. You don't have to worry about all this crap. So how does that feel? Like what's the process? Like tell us what you've done so far.
It's exciting, but then on the other side, it's almost a challenge for myself to not become fearful because I'm so used to fearing the government, fearing the police, fearing all of that kind of stuff. And when you go out for the first time and you have private tags now, I just felt like I was a sitting duck. It was like, oh gosh, I'm like looking in my rear view going, I'm hoping nobody's behind me, because I just don't. I know that I'm backed, but I don't know for certain, like, is that officer going to be educated on this, or am I going to have to go through a whole rundown and then he calls two buddies and now I have three behind me, kind of putting me into this fear kind of thought basis. But
Well, it's all intimidation tactics, right?
yeah.
They got to assert their authority, which they
Mhm.
don't have.
Don't have. Right. So, when I came across this particular portion of the journey with, getting my car out of the matrix, out of the registration, out of the eye, I wasn't certain of it. So I did follow a couple people's leads. One of them being, what is it, Joe Lustica, I guess.
I've heard of
He
him.
he does teach it. But then also, last week I canceled my insurance, and that was kind of scary too. I had a little bit of a, ooh, I hope I'm doing the right thing, Lord,
That's a
you
big
know.
step. I mean,
Yeah,
no insurance, no registration, just
right.
true freedom to travel.
Right. And that's what you're doing. You're taking back your right to travel. Now,
So where have we gone wrong as a society? Where
words.
we're in this, like you said, matrix of
Yeah.
where everybody believes that we have to register our vehicle.
Yeah.
But if you look at the legal definition of the word register,
Mhm.
you're gonna be like, what?
Uh yeah.
No, not even close. I'm not doing that. So it's amazing what happens when you wake up. So
Right.
as a society, where do you think we need to make that shift?
With words. Words. Literally, we need to really relearn some of the definitions of words because we don't drive. We're not an Uber. We're not a trucker. I mean, some of you guys may be, but that's more of the driver side. We are traveling. If you're traveling to take your child to soccer, you're just traveling from A to B. You're not in commerce, you're not selling anything, you're not doing that type of transportation. So on FMCSA, it's Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. That's where you can start to get your DOT number. So that's going to be like, let's say your license plate number. That's how they're going to be able to know that, hey, I'm just traveling. I'm
So
not.
what's for the people who are just learning this process? What's a DOT number?
The DOT number is, in my head, in my rabbit hole head, I think that it's an identifying number to say that I'm traveling like on the like, I don't even want to say private side. Um you're out of the matrix in my head when you
Right.
have a DOT number. Because you're doing more of just I don't know. Maybe I don't know that.
I think it's
Like,
a differentiation. Differentiation. Did I just make up a word?
I think
It's a
so.
it's a different way of saying, hey, I know I have a right to travel. I don't need your registration or your state
Right.
license, but here's my U.S. Department of Transportation number
Right.
that gives me access to travel still, but still
Cuz
put you on notice that I'm traveling in my private capacity, not my.
right. But I feel like it's also like the driver's license. Like I kind of correlate those together because my driver's license expires in 2016, or I'm sorry, 2026.
It's like, whoa, you're way out
Right?
of
You're super expired. But
breaking the law, breaking the
right.
law.
But when you start to like move yourself over and now you have a private tag, you would have then a passport book or the card, right? So that's where in my rabbit hole brain, it's like you would have a driver's license and then a license plate tag, like on that side, and then on this side a DOT number with a passport to travel.
Right.
Because I don't feel like it's, when you have a passport, it's everything, right? Versus having like a Georgia license, or yeah, a
Right.
driver's license.
A
Yeah,
passport
I feel
gives
like it,
you a
it
passport, which is
I feel like it puts you in a jurisdiction versus a passport card and a DOT number. Yeah.
a
Yeah.
passport gives you your ability to freely travel abroad.
Right. And that's what I think the DOT number, I feel like that it does
Right.
this kind
But you're
of.
not giving up your passport. You're just simply you're using your DOT in lieu of, like, well, in collaboration with your passport.
Well, the DOT is for like your car, your transportation,
Correct.
right? Versus my
And then
passport
when you
would be
get
for
pulled
my
over,
vessel.
when you get pulled over, instead of presenting a driver's license, which is in
Right.
commerce,
Right.
you're presenting your passport, which is in private,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
So
So when you were on the public side, you have a driver's license and then your car has a tag. When you're on the private side, you have a tag, but it's a private tag. And you can change up wording and stuff like that on it, like what you want to indicate on the back of your private vehicle. But then you also have a passport card. You're right, Malibu. Like I'm just like pushing through my head. Like I feel like the passport card is for my vessel. because I'm able to move around freely around the cabin, so right.
Move.
I'm able
The
to do
pilot
that.
has removed the safety the buckle light
Right,
that's above your light, and you
right.
can
Put it
freely
on your
move.
face before you do anybody else. Um,
So mentioning the fact that you private tag, right? So today's
mhm.
show is talking about the U.S. Department of Transportation number and your ability to have a private tag on your vehicle. So here, check this out, guys.
You guys, if you guys are new to all of this, look up the book. It's called Meet Your Straw Man. Again,
Wrong video, but we're going to look at that one here too. That video right there, that shows you the private tag and
Yeah.
the way that Leigh has set it up for herself. Now you can set that up several different ways, but that's
Hmm.
the way that she likes it on her vehicle. And I thought that was really, really cool.
Hmm. Because the one on Etsy, and I just looked it up because some of the tags, they're going to be on like a plastic, a heavier plastic, but I wanted my tag to be metal. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted it to be black. Most of them come in white. So I came across a Etsy store. It says the name of the company is Palmetto Engravers Co.
Now
Co.
you gave me that the other day, and I actually
Yeah.
looked up that on. Wait, did you say Etsy?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, that's where I made the mistake. Was I was looking on it? I was looking for it on eBay.
Ah, yes, it is
So you got to
Etsy.
go to Etsy.
Hmm.
Okay.
And now her tag at the top of it, it says no driver's license or insurance required. And I kind of did, I already knew that people that were behind me are going to read that and go, what? She doesn't have a driver's license but I wanted to put something else in there. So I added two UCC codes and then I added my DOT number and then like the rest of it. So I don't know if you guys can see this. This is kind of what hers looks like. Whoa, hers looks like.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
see how, yeah, so see how the little globe, like I got rid of the globe. So you can kind of design your own little thing. One of the UCC codes was 49 USC 14506. And that's just saying, like, hey, I'm able to do this. Restrictions on requirements. It's identification of vehicles. So I added
And
that
and
to it.
and you put that right on your plate,
Mhm.
right next to your DF. Is that the number that we saw on your plate? Let me see. Yeah. So that's a 49 U.S. code number.
Right. And you can look that up. It's on Cornell University Law. It's identification of vehicles. Hmm.
Okay.
So, and I'm not operating in commerce. I'm not in commercial. So the bottom of my tag says that not for commercial use, private mode of travel. So we're not driving. I'm not driving a truck. I'm not driving Uber. I'm not, doing anything like that.
And
I'm
you
just
have a right to
traveling.
travel on the
Hmm.
roadways. On
Right.
even if it's out of state, you can still travel out of state. You can.
Right. Yep. And then I created the affidavit right to travel and public records notice that I had, what is it called? Notarized,
Notary.
so that solidified it. I thought about putting it underneath my UCC one just to then record it. But when you start to move over to this side, I got a book like this. It's just a leather binder. And in it, because I'm anticipating if officer pulls me over, what do I need to give him? What do I need? Because at first I'm going to be kind of nervous, honestly.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to give him a book in the order that like he would maybe make sense of this because I don't want to contract with him. When you
No.
guys hand over your driver's license to the sheriff or whoever, the officer that pulled you over, you're contracting with them because now you just gave them your securities. You get your name, your date of birth. Now they can go contract with you on the back side of that, right? So I have my DOT number, my affidavit of identity. So I'm showing the officer I'm really who I say I am, right? The next one that I feel like is really important is your fee schedule. This fee schedule is going to also put them on notice, because when they ask me for my name, it's going to cost them $50,000. So right off the rip, I'm going to say, you don't want to contract with me, because when the officer pulls me over, his time's starting. Once his time starts, then I'm just checking off stuff. He asked me for my name. He asked me for my driver's license number, which is $50,000. He asked me, usually they don't ask for social, but my social, if anybody asks me for it, is $100,000. So then once you go down, one that I noticed for officers, they like to record too, as they should. Like, we all have that right to do that. But it's photography and video. That's a $200,000 violation in my book. Right? That's my fee schedule. My fee schedule also was listed underneath my UCC one to put everybody on. They know. So I told Mr. Officer, hey, like, you don't want to contract with me. You don't want to do that, And as he's doing things to violate, there you go. Like that, then I would create an invoice, take my ticket, because you don't want to start a ruckus on the side of the road. If anything, let him give you a ticket. If anything, now that's paper. You're starting a paper trail. I have proof that I was pulled over, but I also have an invoice.
Correct.
So then you take that proof.
I think that's where these people are going wrong, is that when you get pulled over, the police officers are police officers for a reason.
Right.
They have this ego about them. They have to feel like they're in charge. They have to, I got a gun and a badge. Now, not all police officers are bad. I have some really good friends of mine who are police officers. But even they know, if you show up to my house in uniform, you're not stepping foot in my house.
Right.
If you want to come over on the weekend and you're not in uniform and do a barbecue, fantastic. Come on over. Right. But when the police officer pulls you over, I think a lot of people are going wrong with this. Is like, what are you pulling me over? I have a right to travel. They caught this attitude with the police officer, which is going to just get you in trouble from from the get-go, right? Boom, you're in trouble from that point on. You always want to stay professional. You always want to stay courteous and kind, because believe it or not, and it baffles my mind, is that in today's world, our government is just giving anybody a gun and a badge and going, hey, go out there and bring us money, because that's all they are. They're policy enforcers. They're not law enforcement. They're policy enforcement. Most police officers in uniform right now carrying a gun and a badge have no freaking clue what the law is. They don't. And it's
sad. Yeah.
It's kind of sad.
But on the flip side, that's what they were taught.
Exactly.
I can respect that. That's what you were taught. But,
But here's where you're wrong, officer. I know you were taught this, but here's what it truly is. Okay, I don't want to argue with you. I'm just presenting you the facts. If you still want to give me a ticket, I'm not going to sign that ticket. I'm not going to contract with you. I'll allow you to give me a ticket, but then I'm going to take all my information and my fee schedule and everything like that into court, and you're going to end up owing me a lot of money at the end of the day.
Yeah, and possibly his badge. I've seen people take officers to court and then end up getting their badge, and it's like, I don't want to do that. Like, I want him to be able to have a job. He just doesn't understand that particular rabbit hole. He's doing a great job. He's moving up ranks. He's doing all whatever, but he just
exactly. But if I don't want to take your job. I want to educate you. I want to make sure that you're doing your job properly. But I guarantee you, if you yank me out of this car and you put me in handcuffs, I guarantee you I will have no reservation about taking your job at that point.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, if it gets ugly, if it starts to get messy, because I have seen some like TikToks that way where they're like yanking people out of cars. Ridiculous. It just shows some of it shows ego. It shows ego. You're not really there for the public. You're there to thrash your anger out on people,
Right. And I'm, crazy. like you, I'm not out there to stir the pot.
Right.
I want to be out there just living my life in freedom. Right. And that's
Leave me
what the whole
alone.
entire process is.
Yeah.
Just leave me alone. Am I scamming somebody? Am I breaking the law? Am I killing somebody? Am I injuring
Is there a
somebody?
victim? Yeah.
Is there a victim? Am I stealing somebody from somebody's property? Am I out there creating harm? No.
Right.
I'm simply traveling from point A to point B, and you're pulling me over
Right.
thinking you have some kind of dominion over me. It's not the way it works. It's not the way
Yeah.
it was supposed to work.
No. Very egotistical kind of even thought process too, because it's not it then it becomes not even a protect and serve.
No,
It's
it
like,
becomes,
oh,
I have a policy to uphold.
yeah, because you know how like people will say, well, they have to make quota. Watch your speed at the end of the month because they have to make quota. Yeah, that makes so much sense to me now.
Yeah. But the police
Hmm.
officers are going to deny it.
Well,
They
yeah.
always will. Oh, no. We don't have the quotas. Yes, you do.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
It's a part of your policy.
But that's also where it's like the securities fraud comes in because you give them your name and they identify you on this ticket and then you sign it, and now they signed it. So it's a contract because it's two signatures,
Right.
and then there's money into it on the back end of it. But then you went and paid your $200 ticket,
Yep. Here.
if
So watch this. So I have a list of over 30 different federal statutes that CPS agents and police officers violate on a daily basis. Okay. So you have all of these in here: perjury, fraud, incitement of slavery, tampering with a witness. You have all of these in here: hostage taking, frauds and swindle, fictitious bank fraud, contempt of conspiracy, violations of deprivation of rights, color of law, deprivation of rights under 241 and 242. See, I have this list that these police officers are violating on a daily basis, and they're all felonies.
right. But if you put it in your fee schedule, because I have agency by estoppel is $50,000. Color of law is $150,000. So as they're just doing all their things, criminal coercion, criminal attempt in court, $500,000. And I know some people look at this, like when I first looked at this, I was like, wow, that's a lot. But there's millions. There's millions on the back end of this. They are breadcrumbing us, nickel and diming us.
Right.
Yeah.
And in some cases, they're taking police officers. They give you a ticket.
Right.
You then go to court. The court attaches a docket number. You then go into court, you dock into their bay or whatever it might be, and they attach a bond to that court case. They're making money off of just the bond alone. Now, where are they getting that bond money from? They're getting it from your SESTA-Q. They're getting it from your Social Security number. They're getting it from your bond, your birth certificate. Now that each individual might be different depending on how old you are, right? Depending on how long that bond has been maturing. One person could be worth 300 million. One person's bond could be worth 500 billion. But that doesn't, you're taking all of that information into court with you, and you're telling the court, I know the system. I know what you guys are doing. So for me to charge you $500,000 for this, that's peanuts.
Yeah,
compared to
it's
what's in your
totally
account.
peanuts. Especially if it's like an equity court, especially if there's like a backside of things, like it's thieves. It's thieves and deception and just all the stuff. And like Dallas said, if you understand this, then when you go into a court, not to have this fear, it is very fear like based, I think, because they try to intimidate us. But if you do go in educated and you have your fee schedule and everything's listed, it's recorded with the courts. So they can't say that, like they can't act new, then it's like, okay, well, they have to produce too. Now, with anything, and you guys know that the court system is not fast at all. Some of it gets drug out. Some of it, it may take several weeks. It may take a couple months. but stay on it, stand on your square and be able to say, no, you violated my rights. And I tried to explain that to you. And then now you're asking me for my name. You're asking me for you're doing all this stuff. Yeah, I'm going to give you an invoice, just like you would have given me an invoice,
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So in regards to the Department of Transportation number that we want to start utilizing,
Right.
How do people go about getting that?
That is that what is it called? FMCSA. That's that website that you can go to. Establishing your right to travel. And then also
FM what?
FMCSA.
Is that .com?
Yes. And if you've already created your trust and you already have your foreign trust grantors number, your 98 number, then you can use that as like they're going to ask you for your social. You can put that in there.
Mm-hmm.
Can use
and they have a pretty simple step-by-step process to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you that I literally just did this last night.
Yeah.
I went through the step-by-step process, and after I was done, I texted Lee, and I'm like, Lee, I got my DOT number. and it took me about half an hour.
Yeah,
that was it.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to answer some questions, and make sure that you're answering them the correctly way, the correct way, because you don't want to operate in commerce. You want to operate in the private. So they will ask you questions that will, make sure that you're not operating in commerce. You just have to click the right answer.
Mm-hmm. And when they ask, like I was telling Dallas, when I think about this kind of dot number and that kind of thing, I think of truckers. I think of big rigs, haulers, movers, that kind of thing. And but on the website it'll ask about like number of vehicles, like number of things, and just do one. And when it asks for how many passengers, if you have a van that can fit 8 people, then put 8.
Yeah.
If you have a car, a 2-seater car, then put 2. Whatever
and
you're doing.
and I don't even own a vehicle right now. And I still got my DOT number because when they asked me about how many people, I put 6 because I don't know what kind of vehicle I'm going to get and how much the capacity will hold. Am I going to buy a truck that can hold 6 people?
Maybe.
Who knows? Maybe.
Right. Yeah. So, but then you're also exempt from registration and licenses. So that DOT number, like we said earlier in the video, like you won't have to have those registrations, licenses, anything like that. You're exempt from it.
Yeah, and that's cool because you can go to your DMV, you can go online, and you can update your driver's license online, and you can just can you put your DOT number
on your license? I don't know.
License, or are you just getting rid of your license altogether?
I think I was just going to get rid of it altogether and just operate off of passport. Like you can get a passport book, like I think Dallas has, and then there's a passport card that looks like a driver's license. Yeah.
So I have this one, and I've only used my passport once, literally, to go to Mexico, and that was it. But it's.
My picture looks horrible. I look like a convict. I look like a gremlin in mine.
We all look like a convict.
So I'm like, okay, well, maybe, because I had to change my last name back to my maiden name. And so I wanted to update that too. So I was like, I'll just start over. I love the purple though.
Oh, purple's my favorite color.
I love it. Yeah. So I think I'm just going to just turn mine in. I feel like I'm just going to I don't need this anymore. Have fun. I still have my tag, I don't know if I can keep it, if I'll get in trouble, but
your
my car tag.
Oh, what do you need that for?
Well, I know I don't, but it's a vanity tag and it says Honey 73 on it and I like it. It's cute. Maybe I can make a birdhouse with a little.
Yeah.
Well,
you paid for it. I don't know why you can't keep it.
Right. I just didn't know if I need to put anybody on notice, or if I put anybody on like, hey, just want to let you know this is what I'm doing.
Yeah. So here's another thing that I brought up the other day with you, and I thought it was very interesting. I made a comment on one of your TikTok videos, and it was actually on the video that we just saw, which was this one. Right. So when I saw that, I commented and I said, well, I guess that will fix your problem with going over toll roads, right? Because
Yeah,
that that private tag on your car is not registered to your address. There's
right,
no way for them to actually mail you a ticket. So when
right.
you're driving over toll roads, it's like, what are they going to do? Like,
But I wondered about the DOT number because the DOT number is connected to me. So could they even run that?
I don't think, well, that's actually, no, that's a very good question. I'm
Yeah,
not
I don't know.
100% sure
I
on
thought
that.
about that last night. Like, I wonder if, I don't know. In all of this, my biggest thing is to remain in honor, clean hands, you know, just make sure that I'm doing everything in good faith,
Right.
without prejudice. If God was looking at me right now, would he be happy? Yes, I'm trying to stick by all
Yeah.
the goodness of
And
it.
that's what it's all about. It's
It's
about living in
intention.
freedom, it's intention, it's living in good faith. It's
Hmm.
it's it's treat others the way you want to be treated. It's just about just
Absolutely.
living life.
Yeah,
It's not about, oh, what do I got to worry about today? What bills do I got to worry about today? What regulations do I have to worry about violating today?
right.
All this other kind of stuff. I mean, it's not the way we were meant to be living.
Not at all. Not at all.
So here's a little document that I also have. It's a PDF. It actually shows you your right to travel. Okay, it goes through a lot of information. It has a table of contents, right? So if I go all the way back here to the beginning, your right to travel. This was
Right.
this was even back in December of 2009,
It looks good.
right? So if you
Mhm.
go through all of this, now I have this. I can email this to anybody who really truly wants it. But it gives you case law, it gives you definitions, um, it gives you UCC titles, motor vehicles. Um, it tells you what the it'll give you descriptions on police officers' authority, all this other kind of stuff. But I mean, this is a fantastic piece of document to have in your folder as well when you're traveling.
Mhm.
Because the more you know this, knowledge is power.
It
And the
is.
more you study this, the more you understand this, the more like the better you're going to be able to articulate it, to
Right.
defend your position,
Yeah.
teach others, show them. Yeah, we are operating in law. We're not outside
Mhm.
of the law. We're actually within the law. So
Right.
you trying to give me a ticket because I'm operating outside of the law
Is crap.
is crap.
And then I think, like, with all of this and all the rabbit holes, I think the media does a very good job, of really putting some of these positions on a higher pedestal than they are. And I'm not saying anything about officers. I love the police. They're great people. Some of them are not. And but that's going to go with all things. There's good and stuff and then there's bad and stuff, but overall it needs to be education.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just think when you're going down the rabbit holes and you start to realize that the media is showcasing, I don't even know how to say it, like making it more than it is, and it puts fear into our hearts or even our vessel, and then making like the judges more than what they are when they're actually administrative people, and then I don't know, it blows my mind because I'm like, damn, we were really taught to look at certain people in a certain way, to view them as this. It's like it's a blurred perception to me.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm not saying even if like your uncle's a judge, I'm not bad mouthing him personally per se. I'm just saying the blanket of illusion over top of all of us.
Right.
is just like, it's blurred, and the media has done a great job of, pushing their narrative onto us and how it's supposed to look,
You know what it
and
reminds me of is, remember those kaleidoscopes?
yes.
You have to look through it
Yeah. And
and you
you're
have to
like,
turn it.
uh-huh.
And the more you turn it, the more things you see, depending on which way you look at something. It could be more beautiful than the other way, or,
Right.
and it could be foggy. It could be blurry.
Mm-hmm.
But once it comes into focus, you're like, ah,
Holy shit.
I get it.
Yep.
Right. And that's
Yeah.
what it reminds me of. And
Right.
as we're going through this process and we're going through each step at becoming a secured party creditor and getting our DOT and getting our private tags and learning that we are truly more powerful than we actually even believe we
Right.
are.
That part right there.
That is what drives me to keep going,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm a state commission notary. As a notary, a lot of notaries don't understand how truly powerful they are. And then you become a secured party creditor on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, you start
Holy
learning the
shit.
different things. Yeah. It's like,
Oh my God.
why didn't they teach me this in college? Why didn't they teach me this in high school? Why didn't they prepare me for this? Because they don't want you to know.
Yeah. I don't think that they're there to empower us that way. We're supposed to go through their system and that's
Mm-hmm.
it. And
Yeah.
learn that job. We're like this, walking around.
Yeah.
I want to be the best at this and this alone. And I'm going to retire that, like as nurses or teachers and, attorney, all of it.
Well, even the person who invented the school system,
Rockefeller.
Rockefeller.
Yeah.
He's even on the record saying, "I'm not in the business of creating thinkers. The school system is created to create a system of followers, of workers, of
Mm-hmm.
obedient workers.
Right.
That's what the entire public school system was built for."
But that's what
And
the media narrative pushes. Going to these colleges, going to, work in this field,
mm-hmm,
do this, retirement, they're
yeah,
yeah,
and
psychological.
it's the complete
Mm-hmm.
opposite.
Yeah.
Public schools are a very I don't know what's the
It's
word.
trash.
It's an
Trash.
indoctrination camp.
Yeah.
It's there to show you how you're supposed to be,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
You step out line, oh, you're violating policy now. Oh, you're
Yeah.
violating statutes, codes, and regulations, which aren't law. A lot of people don't understand that policies, codes, regulations, and statutes are not actual law.
Right.
What's law is common law of the land,
God's law.
Constitution, God's
Right.
law. And that's what we ultimately want to follow. It's not because we believe we're above the law. It's not that we don't believe, we believe that the laws don't apply to us.
Right.
Because the true law of the land, God's law, absolutely does apply to us.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as we are living in freedom, as long as we are living in good faith, we're not breaking any laws.
Right.
Where's the victim? Show me the victim. The state cannot claim victim.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's crazy. It's crazy to just, like, when you unpack it and you're just sitting there and you're looking at everything that you've unpacked and you're like, I see it. Like, I can't even unsee it at this point. It makes me want to really take back all of my rights. And it makes me want to, like, get stronger, that if I did have to go in front of a judge, what would I say? How would I prepare myself? Because on this journey, you're going to wear several different hats. It's not just going to be, I'm the creditor. You're going to have different hats that you can put on. Well, say if there's 10 hats and you only know 4 of them, start to educate yourself just so that like, there's actually other hats that you can wear in certain scenarios or situations. Or if you're buying a house, you would be this. If you're, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're
mm-hmm.
buying a car, if you're taking securities down to a dealership, like bypass the bank completely, but go straight to the dealership, talk to the underwriter, talk to the not a salesman, not, and again, no fault to them. You're going above the heads to the people that actually know this side and dealing in securities and bonds and interest, proceeds, all the things.
Yeah, because as much as the salesperson is there to make money and do a good job,
he does.
they're
Yes.
not going to know what a securities bond is and how to execute it and negotiate it and do all that kind of stuff. Not even close.
No. And it's probably never even something that he's been introduced to. He probably have heard the words, from the other people talking about a security or talking, interest or whatever, but he's correlating it maybe with something else, like a security deposit. So he's thinking, oh, where they're going to have to, you know what I'm saying? So we have to relearn some of these words because yes, although they mean this, you in your head may think it's a security deposit, but the underwriter guy that's talking to the attorney guy that's at the dealership is talking about a totally different thing,
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Interest, proceeds, just all the things.
Well, I'll tell you what, Leigh, how far do you want to go? Like
all the way. I totally, because like, even I know it's we're in the weekend, but Monday I want to go back down and I need to try my hand because I did go to the dealership here in, actually I think it was Pensacola, and I talked to the salesman, and he asked me about financing, and I was like, I won't need financing, I'm going to pay you through Securities. And he was like, oh, okay, and like, then as soon as I noticed that whenever I said that, he was like, do you want to take it for a test drive? And I was like, yeah, hold my purse.
Yeah, hold my beer. Let's go.
Yeah, no. But, then, we exchanged numbers. And so to this week, I even texted him and I was like, hey, I'm getting my things aligned right now, which is literally myself. I'm getting myself aligned because I know whenever I go in, I'm going to have to execute this properly because I'm going to have to put a different hat on to be able to talk to these people. Right. So I told him that I would come in Monday and no, like this next week. I didn't give him a day.
Yeah, I'm very interested. I'm very curious about to see how that goes for you.
And they may kick you out or they may say, look, this is a scam. You need to leave, and then just leave, just like with the officer. If you get pulled over, same. If he's like, I want to give you a ticket or whatever, and you're like, look, I really don't want to contract you. Instead of getting into a tussle, just take the ticket, go down to the courthouse. You can actually conduct court outside of the courthouse. Like if you're doing anything, you can write the judge and go ahead and like talk to him, like say, hey, look, this is what this is. Maybe they'll dismiss it. Maybe they'll throw it out. Maybe they'll,
But see, that's the thing is just because the dealership might think it's a scam because they don't understand it, doesn't mean it's a scam.
Right.
They just don't, they don't understand the implications of what we're trying to tell them.
Right. Or I was thinking, like for me, I went to it was Ford Legacy. It's in Georgia. But I went to Ford Credit. So Ford Legacy is part of Ford Credit. It's the same. So if I come to them and I say, hey, I want to tender this car in Securities, then I tendered the car in Securities, but they're not getting any money from me. So then they're going to go, oh, we don't do that because I'm not paying them in fiat each month for an installment that I don't actually owe, So they're kind of going, no, we want all of it.
So then that begs the question of how do they get their money for the vehicle?
They get it through the Securities. But now my dumbass went over here to Ford Financing and paid them an installment each month. We shouldn't have to pay a down payment or an installment. And there's a code for that.
Right. Well, there's a lot to unpack. There's so many different rabbit holes to jump down.
Yeah, bring snacks. You'll be down there for a while.
Oh, you crack me up. All right. You guys, if you are interested in learning any more about this, follow Leigh. Okay. She's on Instagram. She's on TikTok. She's on Facebook. Wait, are you on Facebook? You're on Facebook.
All the things.
Yeah, she's all over the place. You're going to want to follow her. I'm going to put her information right down here on the bottom again. The Libra Moon 73 YouTube as well. Okay, subscribe to her channel. Hit the bell notification. Subscribe to my channel. Bell notification. She's going to be an amazing co-host for this show. We have a lot in common. We want to teach everybody the process. We want everybody to become free. And there's only one way to do it. Is you got to take control of it. You got to get your birth certificates authenticated. You got to start the secured party creditor process. You got to get your DOT. You got to get your private tags. You got to get your securities together.
Right.
And there's just so many more steps to it. But once you start doing the steps, each step gets easier and easier and easier.
Yeah, it's exciting. And make a list too.
Make a list.
Kind of where you want to be. Mm-hmm.
Show real quickly. Show them your binders again to show them what. Like you can even get one from the post office.
Oh, that's the firm mailing book. Is that what you're talking about?
So yeah, like a firm mailing book of like everything that you mail out. You can keep track of like all your securities, all your UCC1 filings.
And it's free. Hold on.
And you can get that from the post office. Okay.
Yeah,
and
it's kind of
it's
thick.
Just keep track of everything that you send out. Your certified mailing list, your receipts, everything. I mean, that's fantastic. I'm going to go down to the post office and get one of those myself.
Yeah, it's called also an accounting book.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you want to go in there and ask if they have an accounting book, if they kind of look at you weird, ask for a firm, FIRM mailing book. Here it is. Yeah, firm mailing book. Oops, sorry guys, I'm backwards.
Firm mailing book. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And then whenever I was at the post office, I also asked if the postmaster was there. And the guy was like, yeah, she's here. Do you need to talk to her? And I was like, nope, I don't. But do you have a card? Because the post office is actually a bank too. So I'm going to need to be in direct contact with her, because the people that are behind the counter, they may or may not know all this kind of stuff.
Right.
I don't want to waste my time. Not saying that they are wasting. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I just don't go above heads. I need to talk to the postmaster.
Right. And you guys, and that's very crucial to understand, is that the post office is an actual bank. It operates the same manner as a bank does. That's why they can actually issue money orders.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about post office money orders is that the money order coming from a post office is literally the only money order that is backed up by the gold standard. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really cool. So
yeah.
You guys, thanks for joining in. This is the Truth Hurtz podcast. My lovely co-host, Leigh Daniel. You're going to want to go follow her everywhere. She's fantastic. Thank you for being here, Leigh.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
All right. Have a good day, sweetie.
You too.
You guys, if you're not following me here on YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell notification. I'm on TikTok, my Instagram right down there, Malibu Dallas. You can find me everywhere with that. I hope you enjoyed the show today. I hope you gathered a lot of information. I hope you took notes, because the country is waking up. The country is waking up to the corruption. The company, or the public is waking up to the massive blanket that's been pulled over all of us. And once enough people are actually awake to this process, it's going to completely redo the whole entire system. And that's what the government doesn't want, because at that point they lose the majority of their power, their control. Because at that point we're all living in freedom, right? So you guys have a wonderful day. Come back for the next video. Love y'all. Have a good day. Well, that was fun.
Yeah. I felt like that went by so quick.
Well, it was 50 minutes.
Yeah, I saw it. I could see the little like the timer. I like that.